How is it going today, Loyalist Kingdom? My name is Dwayne.
My name's Jasmine.
We're Dwayne and Jazz. Today we have for you Mr. Nightmare, 4 true college horror stories. Make sure you check his channel out, link in the description below. College is a horror story in itself.
Yeah, it is. I had like the worst schedule ever. Like my schedule was bad, and I was working at the same time, so it was just I didn't get no sleep.
Yeah, no sleep. But anyway, let's dive on it.
All right. That's a horror story for me. Getting a college essay that's like 20 pages long.
Boy, I used to finesse those.
They used to be repeating the same thing over and over.
In different ways.
Yeah.
So we're going to cut this video in half and do part 2 tomorrow.
It's
This is really long. Story 1.
It was my first year of university. I had just finished unpacking all of my stuff into my room.
I never
My
moved
family
on
had just
campus
left.
though.
Yeah,
Later on that same day, my roommate finally arrived, and right from the get-go, I knew this kid was the most socially inept person I'd ever met. I introduced myself as Dan, sticking out my arm for a handshake. He paused, looked down at my arm as if he didn't understand at first, then laughed and went, "Oh," and gave me an almost dead fish handshake.
What?
I had to ask him for his name since he didn't even tell me when we shook hands.
What?
He was Dale. I tried to make small talk, but he just answered my questions with yes or no's, occasionally
Ma'am,
alternately laughing or smiling.
Switch rooms. I need to switch.
Within minutes, we were both just sitting on our beds, on our laptops, not talking to each other. I was upset and planned on requesting to be placed with a different roommate.
Thank you.
Anyone would be better than Dale.
That's what I was saying. Like just
I
move.
thought Dale was just a really awkward kid, but I soon learned he was much more than just that.
Oh, shit.
I met some of the other kids on my floor, and they seemed cool, so that was good. I came back to my dorm after looking around campus the first night to find Dale still in the same position he was in when I left. I said, "What's up, Dale?" and he didn't answer. Not to my surprise. It was 9:30. I didn't have anything to do, so I turned out the lamp on my side of the room and went to bed. I didn't actually fall asleep anytime soon, though.
Because he's creepy.
Dale was on his laptop until 3 in the morning.
Damn.
When he finally closed his laptop, I fell asleep pretty quickly, but I woke up within the hour. The blinds to our room had been opened, and the moonlight now creeping into the room made everything visible, including Dale sitting on the side of his bed, looking at me. I sat up.
I would have been like, "What's up?"
"Dale, what the hell are you doing?" He whispered back, "Sorry," and laid down. The next morning, I woke up to find Dale had already gotten up. I felt like it was the first time he left the room. It was a Saturday. The first Saturday of the year, meaning orientation and all the campus festivities. During the orientation, as my group was walking by the school gardens, I heard a couple of students ahead of me saying, "What is that kid doing in there?" I saw who they were talking about.
It was Dale.
It was Dale.
Damn,
He was
Dale.
sitting in the dirt behind a patch of bushes, rubbing the bark of a tree with his hand. The orientation leader didn't know
might
this,
be
otherwise I'm
eco-friendly.
sure she would have said something. I just walked
No.
by without saying anything, eventually telling the 2 kids I overheard that he was my roommate as a way to start a conversation.
They would have been like, "I'm sorry for you."
They apologized for me. None
Right.
of us really knew if it was appropriate to laugh or not, but we did. I made friends with those 2 kids, and we made plans to get together that night.
I feel sorry for
I
you.
also learned when I got back to my dorm that the school found another roommate for me. Things seemed to be turning around quickly
There
for the
you go.
better. I left the room that night to go meet up with the 2 kids I met, and when I got back, Dale was sitting on the desk chair facing the door. I said, "Oh, hey, what's up?" He said nothing, very matter-of-factly. I sat down on my bed and opened my laptop, and realized I forgot to lock it. I also realized that all of my emails had been opened. Emails I was pretty sure I didn't even read. And a bunch of folders of mine had been opened.
Oh, hell no.
Dale, you
Dale
about
must
to
have
catch
slipped
these
through my
names.
laptop. When I asked him if he did, he responded no, very loudly, half a second after I even finished my question. I could read him like a book. This creepy kid was literally going through my computer when I was out. I knew he did it, but I didn't pursue it.
I would.
I was ready to go to bed,
I'm about to get
so
in
as
the
I
room,
went
man.
into my bed to look for my pajamas, I felt like my clothing had all been moved around as well.
Damn it, Dale.
I knew I'd be out of there forever by tomorrow, so I didn't say anything.
Man, please, you get it tonight.
I woke up in the middle of the night
Okay.
to the sound of a zipper. I sat up and saw Dale on
There
the
go the
ground,
gun.
going through my bag. I turned the lamp on, this time confronting him about it.
And he had a gun.
He played dumb, saying, "I think you have my toothbrush by mistake." It was the closest thing to wits that he'd shown up until that point. Still, I knew he was lying, and I knew something was wrong with him, so I couldn't get physical with him. The next day, I met my new roommate in the same building, and everything went well.
I'm crazy
Sunday
too.
night, after having a decent conversation with my roommate, who was no social butterfly, but was miles better than Dale, we both turned off our lights and went to bed. For the third night in a row, I woke up at some off hour of the night to a strange noise. It was a weird clicking noise. It wasn't consistent, but
Oh my
I hear
God.
it at least twice every 30 seconds. I got up, hoping to find something innocent, like a heavy bag putting pressure on the
Dale in the window.
or even a mouse. But as I scoped out the room, I realized the sound was actually coming from the other side of the door. The nightlight in the common area was always on, so when I looked through the peephole, I was able to see the scalp of the person standing on the other side of our door. They were looking down, so I couldn't see their face, but now that I was paying attention, I realized the tiny clicking noises were actually coming from the doorknob. I was sure the person was trying to unlock the door. I dialed the number for the campus police department, and they showed up in under 5 minutes to the common room.
There you
And
go.
only then did I feel it was safe to open the door. I found the officers to have Dale in cuffs. I had a feeling it was him. I told them everything, that he was my former roommate who was going through my stuff, so I switched dorms, only to find him trying to break into my new dorm.
How'd
They
you
took
find
him
the new
away.
one?
I don't know what happened to him after that, but I never saw him again.
He's in
He
jail.
either got suspended for the semester or expelled. I got through the rest of my years at university like anybody else. However, the nightmarish experience I had with Dale still pops up in my head every now and then.
Sorry, you would have caught the hands, Dale.
Dale would have caught those hands, man.
Good, especially if I catch you
I
going
went
through
to
my stuff.
Binghamton University for 2 years.
And you
I
already
quickly made a big
weird?
group of friends there, and we'd go out every
No.
weekend. One weekend on a Friday night in October, when my group didn't have any big plans together, me and 2 other close friends decided to hang out in the school nature preserve by the lake. There was this little clearing on the far side of the lake that was convenient for fires. Since it was so far from view of the school or campus security, kids would sometimes, but not often, come here to smoke pot, drink, and do basically all the other drugs.
Of course.
Of course.
It was a relatively unknown
Don't do
spot
drugs,
on
though.
campus.
Do not do drugs.
And we liked that about it. Tonight we just brought a bunch of beers, lit a fire, and hung out, having what we referred to at the time as a bro chat.
Bro chat.
As the night progressed, time seemed to pass quicker as the alcohol began to take effect. Eventually it got to the point where we were all laughing so hard that one of my 2 friends was on the floor rolling in the leaves. That was when my other friend stopped laughing and went, "Shh." We all perked up and listened, and heard the crunching of leaves and branches in the distance. We threw our bottles in the lake since we were all under 21, and it wasn't unheard of for campus police to come through the woods on weekends to catch kids doing drugs. We tucked the rest of the beers into a backpack. I was moderately drunk, so my paranoia was higher than usual. That was probably the case for all of us. The fire exposed us to anyone passing through the woods. But the thing is, this spot was so unknown and far from campus that it was rare to find anybody else that deep into the woods. It sounded like just one person in the distance.
Might have been a deer or a bear.
Might have
The
been.
sound of a tree branch snapping not too far away freaked all of us out. None of us were really the confrontational ones from our group, so we were lacking that one person who would have the confidence to stand up and yell out to whoever was out there. Instead, we all just sat in silence, shushing each other. We heard what seemed to be somebody or something circling us, or at least walking around in a C shape
Or an
around the
animal.
little campsite.
No.
It literally started
Might
to
be.
feel like we
Might
were
be.
in the movie The Blair Witch Project.
Oh,
Sounds in the
no.
near distance, like cracking tree branches and leaves crunching on the ground, kept echoing over to our campsite. We laughed about it at first, but I personally soon became terrified of who or what it could be.
I was
Hell
like, this ain't
yeah.
funny.
Say funny.
Out of the blue, a huge thud made all 3 of us jump. At first I didn't understand, even though I saw what caused the sound. It took me a few seconds to digest the fact that a branch had been thrown into the center of our little fire site. One of my 2 friends took off running, while my other friend and I sat behind, looking at each other,
I bet you
half
did.
laughing, half concerned.
Nah, I'm
I
running.
feel like we didn't know yet if this was some kind of joke or not.
He's
That's when my
scared if it's
friend
a
let
joke.
out a scream of pain as he was struck in the face by another tree branch.
Ooh.
I grabbed the backpack, helped my friend up off the floor, and we hauled ass back in the direction of our dorm. When we made it to the road separating the nature preserve from our dorm, we stopped to catch our breath. But whoever was out there proved to be following us when we heard footsteps coming closer to the road.
Uh-oh.
We continued to run back to the dorm, and when we got back to our floor, we found our other friend in his room already. We looked out of his room window down to the woods.
That would
There
have been
was
me.
someone
I would have been
pacing
that
back
friend
and forth
already
by
in the
woods,
room.
and every time the car passed, they would walk back into the woods. Eventually, whoever it was went back into the woods for good, to never be seen again by us. We continued our drinking session in the dorm room, and within 10 minutes we
Ain't
were
gonna
all
stop the
laughing about it.
party.
It wasn't until the next morning that we all realized how terrifying that experience actually was.
It's like,
We
what
never
if he
really
like
went back into the woods past dark
walked up
after
to
that.
you?
Right.
Okay, so this. Look, I'll be that one friend
That will not be.
runs, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, if I hear a big old thump, I don't care if it's a person, I don't care if it's an animal, I'm going. And then y'all can tell me what happened later on when you come back, okay?
Yeah, I
I'll
know.
be sitting in my room, completely safe. While
That's
y'all
Jasmine.
out
She
there
run. Like,
running.
it heard that branch. I look at me like, get out.
Like, I remember when there was like food fights like at my school, which was a lot. It happened a lot. And we had uniforms. I didn't have that many, so I didn't want to get mine dirty, and we all had white shirts. So it was like, I remember one time I saw this one orange fly through the air. I was the first one to see it. I was the first one at my group of friends table to get up, and I ran. I was gone. Like, my friends didn't know where I was. I was already outside of the cafeteria. And then that's when the food fight happened. And then there was like, where was you at? I was like, I was already down the hallway.
I was gone.
Like, I was gone.
Forget all that.
I was like, y'all saw me get it. I was like, you didn't tell nobody else. Like, you saw me get up. So that meant for you to do something too,
Right.
okay? Once you see somebody that doesn't run, start running, that means I'm doing it for a reason.
Right.
Okay, so
yeah.
I would have been that one. So
Anyway, guys, please comment below. Tell us what you think.
don't forget to like,
Subscribe.
and
See you
share.
tomorrow, guys.
Deuces.
Deuces.